12 jurors could decide as early as today whether or not a former Grand Rapids police officer was justified for shooting and killing Patrick Lyoya during a traffic stop 3 years ago. The first full day of jury deliberations will get underway in about 2 hours in Christopher Schurr's murder trial. Teresa Weekly live at the courthouse this morning, where jurors are set to return. Good morning, Teresa.
Good morning, George. Yes, jurors will begin returning this morning to go over the evidence and the testimony from the 23 witnesses they heard from, including Christopher Schurr. And they do have the option, besides second-degree murder, the primary charge here, to consider a lesser charge of manslaughter. Here's a look at those two charges. With second-degree murder, that's not premeditated but with malice. Jurors would have to believe first that Schurr killed Lyoya, which no one is disputing, that he did it on purpose, and then the key here is that he was not justified in doing that. For manslaughter, the jury would have to believe Schurr killed Lyoya in the heat of passion, as in he was provoked, did not have time to cool off, and that it was not reasonable for him to do it, so not self-defense. We have a criminal defense lawyer who's been offering us some analysis of this case throughout the trial. Peter VanGelderen is back with us this morning. Peter, thank you for being here.
Yeah, good morning. Good to be back.
So as we heard closing arguments and this went to the jury, what stuck out to you as what the jury is going to be considering as someone who is a criminal defense lawyer?
Well, I think the first thing they're going to consider, obviously, they get a four-person and get moving and select all the, how to analyze the evidence. And they're going to start working through the counts. I think there's some good testimony at the end of Monday before the closing arguments for them to consider. They're going to work through that self-defense claim first. If they can't get past that, then it's going to be an acquittal, and then start to work through second-degree murder and then into the voluntary manslaughter.
You pointed out that the prosecutor looked at the statement that Schurr gave to police after this shooting. What stuck out to you about that?
Yeah, so because it's the prosecutor's burden, they have the opportunity to put on rebuttal witness, and they put the agent back on the stand, and they introduced one of Christopher Schurr's statements he made during the investigation. And I think what stuck out to me was the comment about chasing the suspect at that time. And to me, that kind of was saved for that rebuttal purpose, to see what the testimony would be on the stand and to kind of counter that idea that, this was a split-second, last-moment issue and that he was in pursuit of him, to kind of go right at that self-defense argument.
And if this does end up with a hung jury, what happens at that point?
So before they get to declaring it a hung jury, the judge will read what's called the Allen charge, and it's essentially a last effort to instruct them to, hey, go in, reevaluate your position, and try to see if you can come to a unanimous verdict. That's going to draw objection from the defense because it kind of insinuates that, you may give up your position, and that's the most important thing. Each juror is going to say, hey, look, this is what was important to me. This is how I see the case. And so that charge at the end kind of asks them to reconsider that. So there will be an objection, but that's pretty common when you get a jury going a distance. I don't expect to hear that today. If they go in tomorrow, maybe. But, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of good conversation going on in the jury room.
Okay, well, Peter, thank you for your analysis. We appreciate your time, and we'll be carrying the verdict once they have it live on Wood TV, once they announce that they have reached one, and then we'll carry it for you here. George.